Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here, welcome back to another video. This one's going to be a bit of a mishmash of things. So first of all, we've got a new Battle Royale leak out of Temporeal, and then I also just want to go over the article that came out the other day, the one I covered in my last video, which has clearly upset a lot of people, and I think a lot of people are sort of dooming and glooming the game like before it's even released. So that article of course had several testimonies from people working in and around DICE, EA and the other companies making Battlefield 6, and they were all pretty negative. But I also wanted to show you guys the other side of the coin, that some of the developers currently working on the game have come out on Twitter and they don't seem to share a similar take. And then finally, we're going to talk about EA's massive goal of hitting 100 million players for the next Battlefield game. Is it going to happen? Is it even possible? So without further ado, let's just jump into this here. If you guys enjoy the content on the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I will do my very best to keep you guys updated with everything Battlefield going into the future. And as always, thank you guys so much for the support. Really appreciate it. So let's begin here with the Battle Royale leak. So the other day, Temporeal managed to data mine the intro cinematic, or the drop cinematic, where you're going into a round of Battle Royale directly from Battlefield Labs' client. Now, I'm not going to be able to show you guys this, obviously, because my video will be taken down. It's also been taken down everywhere else. It's been taken down on Twitter, it's been removed on Reddit, so this is 110% legit. For those of you who didn't manage to see it in time, it doesn't really show a whole lot. Basically, it's your basic insertion cinematic. We've got soldiers in Chinook helicopters flying into a drop zone, and around the drop zone, you can see this massive cloud of fire and explosions going off. And this is apparently something which they call NXC, which is causing these explosions and these gases here. And that is basically going to be the enclosing ring around the Battle Royale arena that's going to make it smaller and smaller. Outside of that, Temporeal did say that the map is going to be set in California. We've of course seen a previous leak, or like a screenshot of concept art, where there's people parachuting in there, and we could see swimming pools and stuff like that down below, so it certainly did look to be at least there, like in the US. And speaking of leaks, it looks like the Battlefield subreddit is really going to be dropping the ban hammer, or at least the suspension hammer, on people posting leaks over there. So in the past, leaks have kind of been left to linger there for at least days, if not weeks. And there's a new mod post gone out here saying notice about posting Battlefield Labs content, and basically it just says if you break any of the NDA, you post screenshots, you post videos, you post audio from the new Battlefield Labs build, then you can expect suspensions. Here are some example posts here that have been suspended or have been removed, and the person posting them has been suspended. So it looks like, yes, leaks are almost certainly still going to be posted there, but I think they're going to be removed much more quickly now. And I've also noticed EA doing the same thing on Twitter, so they are kind of starting to tighten their grip around those leaks a little bit more, and therefore we may be seeing less of them in the future. But yeah, overall, look pretty cool. I really hope they're going to do well with the Battle Royale, because if they want to hit these 100 million players, well, they're certainly going to have to do so. But before we get onto that, let me just segue quickly then into the Ars Technica article that came out the other day. So, for those of you who didn't see the video, basically what we had here is a guy interviewing several people who had worked for DICE, worked for Motive, and the other studios who were working on Battlefield 6. Some of them have since left the studio, some of them are working there, and a lot of them gave testimonies saying that they were basically being pushed too hard, that they were getting burnt out, and that EA weren't listening to them, and that they weren't allocating, it sounds like, enough time to actually get the game good and ready before release. Now, I did say at the start of that video that I don't want this to be all doom and gloom, because from what I've seen of Battlefield Labs, I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Like, I think the game shows a lot of promise, and my only worry personally is that they might do what EA kind of tend to always do with Battlefield games. They release them too early, and then they fix them down the line when the first impressions have already gone out, and sometimes they're like overly negative, more than they needed to be. Now, it is worth saying that I think most of the people who anonymously talked to this guy in the article probably maybe have some sort of bad experience at EA or with these development companies here. Maybe they worked on the game for a while and then they got let go. Maybe they decided to move on because they didn't like the way they were treated there. And so they're probably going to act negatively towards EA in general because of bad experiences that they had. And so I did want to point out some developers here over on Twitter who aren't, of course, anonymous, who have also not directly chimed in, but definitely inadvertently sort of given away their feelings on this. So first of all, here we have Frederick Drabert. He's a game designer over at DICE. Really nice dude, and he posted this right when the article dropped. The internet, let's take a look at, nope, okay, that's enough for today. So that kind of gave me a feeling like he doesn't really maybe agree with the article, and he thinks there's maybe a lot of drama going to be coming out of this. And then he just posted this today. I've been working a lot this first half of the year now, and after a final push this week, I have finally 2 weeks off. Very proud of the work my team and me did. We are making very cool stuff. Looking forward to the moment where we can share it with you all. So it sounds like, he's been hard at work, and now he's getting a well-deserved vacation, but it doesn't sound like he's acting negatively about this, right? It doesn't sound like he's burnt out. Rather, it's been challenging, but things are moving in a great direction. Similarly here, we have Darko Supe, the technical lead on the new Battlefield game. And he says, a bit more and I will officially be going on long parental leave. It will be a much needed change of focus, which will hopefully enable me to disconnect and bond with my little guy even more. Can't wait, he's just had a baby, so congratulations Darko. The last couple of years have been dynamic and full of learnings. Being a part of painting the initial broad strokes of the project felt great, and just to be clear, he's referring to the new Battlefield game. I enjoyed spearheading initiatives that push things forward in many different ways. I gave myself 100% every single day, and it felt good. The leave will help me take a small step back and reflect. All in all, I'm happy with engineering expertise we've created and maintained throughout the years, and I hope that translates into the final product in the best possible way. I enjoyed working with this team more than any other team before. Their honest work deserves success. So, the way these developers are expressing this, I feel like the timing of these statements from them, well, not statements, but, just what they're putting out here, I guess, have to sort of coincide with that article going out. And I think they're trying as best they can to show that everything isn't that terrible at DICE and EA, despite what maybe some other developers have anonymously told this journalist. So, for me, of course, what we heard in this article, is somewhat worrying, but I think what we've seen from Battlefield Labs far outweighs the negativity of anything that's come out of this article here. Like I said earlier in the video, the only worry that I have about Battlefield is that EA are going to decide to release the game too early. And for me, honestly, if I'm 100% telling you guys the truth here, I'm going to buy the game no matter what, right? Because I'm a content creator and I need to make content about it. And even if it has some bugs on release, and I'm almost certain that it's going to do, I will wait for it to be fixed because I can see that the game has a good foundation. The bones are there, whereas with Battlefield 2042, that was clearly not the case. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that you should do the same, and I really thoroughly hope this is not going to be the case either. And this segues me into EA and their incredibly lofty target of going after 100 million players. Now, I said in my video the other day that EA were absolutely delusional if they thought they're going to get 100 million players. And many people in the comments pointed out that the new Battlefield has a Battle Royale mode that's going to be free to play, of course. And from what I've heard, even the new Gauntlet mode may be free to play as well. And so, of course, that's going to open up the floodgates there for a lot of new potential people who've maybe never played Battlefield, as well as people who are going to jump in there simply because it's free to play. So can EA actually hit 100 million players? Yes, I think it is possible, but EA have got to knock this game out of the park. Battlefield games are kind of notorious for releasing in, let's say, not the best states. There's a lot of bugs, a lot of things really left unfinished. Maybe BF1 is the last one in recent memory that I can remember having a good release. But I think that if they want the game to do well, if they want the Battle Royale to do well and attract all of these 100 million players, then it really needs to be a good experience. We can't have people going to Steam on day one and leaving tons and tons of negative reviews. Because these days, first impressions on video games are kind of everything. Every month we've got absolutely fantastic games coming out, so much choice, too many games, too little time. And so if you're going to put out a free-to-play offering and people jump in there and they're not captivated right from the get-go, or there's too many bugs, or there are unfinished maps, or any of the problems we've seen from past Battlefield games, that's it. Like, people will go to Steam, they'll leave a negative review, and they'll move on to the next thing. You know, whilst myself and a lot of you guys will have stuck around, let's say, with Battlefield 2042, or maybe even BF5, and waited for the game to be fixed up, most people aren't going to do that, and especially these extra, like, 18 million players, potentially, that EA are looking to captivate, they aren't going to do that. They're going to move on to the next thing. And that's just sort of the state of the gaming market these days. Very, very few people are prepared after a first impression to come back and give a game a second go. So if I realise that, and I'm sure you guys realise that too, you know, surely EA must know this. And I suppose all we can do is I hope that they make the right decision. But I would be interested to know what you guys think of this. You know, do you think the Battle Royale mode and the other game modes, of course, are capable of pulling in over 100 million players? Clearly, this is something EA wants, so if they don't reach those goals, what is that going to mean for the franchise? Are they going to start to scale down the resources put into the next Battlefield game, for example? And, you know, just in general, what is your outlook on the game? Are you more positive, you know, from seeing the Battlefield Labs leaks and stuff like that? Or are you feeling slightly more pessimistic after the most recent article that went out? Let me know below. Let's have a bit of a discussion about it. If you guys enjoyed the video today, leaving a like down below is always appreciated, as is subscribing to the channel to stay up to date with everything Battlefield, and I will see you all in the next video.